Nothing else.
Money, hoes, and clothes, all a nigga knows.
Hey, to all the ladies in the spot with they own knots, ladies that drops, they own bottles that they can pop. Hey, props to you, pray them ballers fly to you, drop to you, hope he give his knot to you. Cause not I, unless the thought fly. If she not, then we stop at Popeyes. No maestros or night strolls on beaches. I bought it fully loaded, all the features. Feet chrome, lips match the paint. I get money, heat, mask, and bank. Fuck titties, feet, ass, and waist.
All right, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Let Me Speak podcast. And today, man, I got a heavy hitter on here, man. It is an honor to have this man on here. I'm just blown away that I was even blessed to be able to say I'm able to interview this legend. Y'all go ahead and give it up for my man, Glasses Malone. What is going on with you, my guy?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Man, like I said, it's an honor to be able to have you on here, man. It means a lot. So go ahead and tell the listeners about Glasses Malone. We all know where you're from, but just go ahead and let us know.
Man, just a local East Side player that made good, man, and Mr. Pay It Forward. Always pay it forward, man. Always doing the next thing for the next generation. That's all. Trying to do my part.
I love that. So it's been a minute since we've been back with the Let Me Speak podcast, but we back. For those of you who be just tuning in for the very first time, basically Let Me Speak podcast is a podcast dedicated to allowing Black and brown men in hip hop to try to give them a platform to speak on things that affect us on a deeper level, affect our communities, and just show that our men are they're more than just how media tries to portray them as thugs and gangbangers. They're a lot more intelligent Black kings, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, let's just jump into it. I want to touch on what you just said, actually. You said giving back into the next generation. What are your thoughts on just Black people doing just that, giving back, whether it's giving back to the community, giving back to our generation? I feel like a lot of the times we lack in that area with giving back to our communities or helping each other out. Why do you think that is? What is your take on that?
I think we do a decent job. I think it could be better. I love the things that the Jewish culture does. Right. They are bonded by a few different things, you know what I mean? That makes their connection, and even probably when they don't want to see eye to eye, there's still always somebody there to keep everything intact. You know what I mean? It's all through the synagogue, but I would like us to work on it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be one of those guys that act like it's just this total destructive thing. We try our best. Our positions is so threatened in this country that at times we always feel like, damn, if I help somebody, maybe it might cost me. And don't nobody, want to go back to where ideally we come from. I mean, I guess that's everybody's biggest fear.
Right.
Notice some people feel that way. They don't want to go back to the same place as we started. So that paralyzes them with fear and make them only do good by people who don't really probably need the help as much.
You said we feel like our positions are
always under fire. We always on what you call it, walking on eggshells. I feel like even at the highest level, we always feel like we walking on eggshells. So it makes it a little bit more.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we the last ones on the wealth train. In this country. So we the last ones on the wealth train. So whenever one of us do, pull ourselves up, I always laugh because I'm very vocal about how I feel about hyper-capitalism. You know what I mean? And I noticed Jay was talking about it. I'm super critical over it. But I don't like the fact that whenever somebody gets put in position and they put themselves in position, they work their ass off, it got to be something they cheating on or they're part of the Illuminati. I've heard more Black names are part of the Illuminati than white names. I don't think I ever heard of the average person in the barbershop tell me a white man was a part of the Illuminati, but So I think we
That's
always
crazy.
walking on eggshells. There's always a fear of our position being taken. And, again, we know we ain't supposed to be in the positions we are in, but, some of the brothers have made good and they trying their best. It's a tough out. It's a tough out.
Definitely. It's funny you said that. I never really thought about it like that. Everybody who I do hear, like, everybody's like, oh, so-and-so's in the Illuminati. It is always one of us. I never thought about
That's
it.
That's why I said that Illuminati all black now. Ain't nothing
That's
but
crazy, yeah.
white folks. So I guess we got all
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's wild. So I want to touch on though. Tell us about like life in LA and gangbanging in LA, and then what was that like?
Honestly, I think the Hollywood makes it a little bit more
cool or
no, like it's over glamorized. It's over, even the violence is over spoken. I mean, it's bad, but it's as bad as any other community that we exist around this country where poverty is. So I think the names, through Hollywood have became way more polarizing, but
definitely.
The experience itself is fun, man. It's really fun. You have a lot of fun growing up. And it's weird how poor people come together and figure out a way to have fun. And you always have fun. And you come together and you figure out how to eat dinner. You come together, you figure out how to make a name for yourself. You know what I mean? So that's really what gangbanging is all about. A bunch of poor people coming together and deciding that they're going to do whatever it takes by any means to make something of themselves or to make some economics or just make sure the world know they exist. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the depth of it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a deep answer. Because everybody, people hear the word gangbang and they just automatically assume the automatic worst, and again, that's why I have this platform to defy that stereotype.
I've been telling people over and over again that it's so much about love, the real thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't speak on, if you didn't grow up in the community that you are actively representing and you just found somewhere to be a part of, that's not what really gangbanging is about. You know what I mean? It's really the people that grow up poor together, moms on drugs together, the oppressed together, lack of resource together, and you just band together and, you just want the world to know you exist by any means. You know what I mean? So it's more love driving it. Even when when you hear about the violence sometimes and settling disputes and conflict, it's because something happened to somebody you love. And it's all dealt with in this really primitive type of way. So it's more love driving it, the real thing, than anything. You know what I'm
saying? Now I want to ask you, what do you think the influence that that gangbanging has had on rap? Because obviously it's the big influence. So how do you feel like that has played a part in influencing rap? And also, how do you think that it's influencing these younger generation? Because this younger generation of gangbanging, they are a lot different from your generation.
I don't know what they doing. I mean, you know what? It's not. So hip hop, at the genesis is all about hip hop was started by gang.
Right.
A lot of credit don't go to the Black Spades and all of the other guys, but all those guys were stick up kids and part of crews and gangs and shit. You know what I mean? So gangs on the West have this different connotation to every other one, but it's all the same. So, I think LA street culture, that's what we call gangbanging. The street culture in Los Angeles, in South Los Angeles, is very catchy. You know what I mean? Yes. The whole feel of it, the fashion of it, the lingo of it. Again, Hollywood is in our backyard, so we have films made on it a lot earlier than most people around the country. So I think the impact is in any traditional sense. You know what I'm saying? It's the fashion is there, the lingo is there, the naming, how you represent the group, the community is there. Like it always has been, but ours is just different. As far as today, I mean, people are still poor, people still oppressed, people still stuck in these urban street communities. So gangs don't exist as long as people are being oppressed from they're being denied opportunity and economic, growth and just purely like a fair life. So they're gonna do what they got to do.
Right.
What's going on with a lot of the young dudes is they just
they
looking
on
for a
something
home.
else.
Yeah, they just looking for a home. I respect a lot of the stuff they doing though. I mean, I appreciate they not robbing Miss Jackson on the block no more. If you're gonna rob somebody, they going after some real big fish. They going after $40,000 and $50,000 Rolex watches and Beverly Hills.
Sure
So
are, yeah.
I respect that more than them robbing Miss Jackson for her last $200 she been saving up for 2 months. But
no, that is true.
I just think that they're all looking to be a part of something, and they go out and find it instead of
lost.
Whatever's right outside their house.
Right.
And I think that kind of makes it tough to have a bond with somebody. It's just a lot more ridiculous and dramatic. You know what I'm saying? You always have extra problems if you don't. The thing is, all of the communities that we, had issues with, we pretty much grew up with all of the members from around. So even those things are solved differently. They're carried out differently versus some stranger looking for a place to belong and coming just raising hell because he don't know nobody in these communities. He could make that situation worse. So I think these kids are still looking for somewhere to belong to, and they're finding it just don't happen to be people that they grew up with. They whole life.
And doesn't always round up good for them.
Never.
Yeah.
This is tough.
And in correlation to with gangbanging, and you mentioned how people only see the violence. Now in LA, especially, I feel like people tend to get killed in their own hoods. They tend to get killed in their own hoods. Again, especially in LA. And why do you feel that is? That people are we're killing our own.
Again, is all issues dealt with primitively. Once you force somebody into the corner, you pretty much limit their vision of possibilities and options. The world get real small. You know what I mean? So sometimes we'll say people all from one gang, but they might be from 4 or 5 communities. Some of these gangs and territories are huge. Like some of these whole gangs are the size of Watts, where there's 100 gangs. There might be one gang on the west side that's the same territory. So we might say 2 people from the same, hood, but they really didn't grow up with each other. So there's no, you don't have the same respect for that person, mama. The things that bond you together and make you think twice about any bad decision you're gonna make. So that's the first thing. So, 2 is drugs. You get a lot of people high. You know what I'm saying? They just start making bad decisions and brash decisions. And again, we could blame this, but again, it goes into drugs and how is all this prescription medicine on the street like this?
Right.
How aren't the companies being investigated? It's big, medicine on the street, like real med. I won't even call it drugs. Medicine on the street.
Yeah.
And people are using it recreationally, and it's just really, have them making really bad decisions. So I think that's the 2 things that are driving it. So even when there's, inter-community issues, those are the 2 things I'm really mindful of.
Right. Does that kind of go into why there's so many different types of the same gang? Like there's different kind of Crips and.
That's just as good as the streets. It always. The concept of Crip already separated right when they started East Side and West Side Crip, and then it became Compton Crip. So, poverty keeps it very. You feel like the world is a lot smaller than it is when you're poor or such oppression, mom, all this stuff. The world seems really tiny. You know what I mean? So communities break up into these really small things, and there are cultural differences. Within a mile, literally like in Nigeria, all the Nigerians are the same, but they are culturally completely different in tribes. And, they seem the same to an outsider, but to somebody inside, there'll be a few things culturally different. And, those small differences, could create a problem here.
Yeah, definitely. Now speaking on communities. Let's talk about LA communities. So I want to talk about gentrification. So if you guys, those of you listening, LA is definitely becoming gentrified. The value of property in the hoods is increasing, causing rent to increase, then forcing people who've been living in the same homes for years to move out of the hoods because they cannot afford the raised rent. What's your take on this? So how do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't like it naturally. Something about my spirit doesn't like it, but you know, maybe a new start is what some people need. You know, but I definitely don't like it. It's not, you know, they're not doing a good job still transitioning these people into, you know, we're not doing a great job transitioning people into life's, you know, once they leave this community, at least be able to go to another community where there's a career 4 miles away where you could buy a house and start to do the right things with your life. Right. You're moving people from one ghetto to another and they just want the property. So, again, it's all driven by economics. It ain't really driven by anything positive.
Yeah. So like you
really
said, like
champion it. Yeah, I really can't champion it.
Do you know anybody personally that's suffering or dealing with this, or that might have to?
I've known a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I've known a lot of people. Man, it's tough. You know what I mean? People have to relocate. They've been there generations, a generation or 2, 3. You know what I mean? This is all they know. And they are relocated to a place where they don't know anything, and the opportunity is probably worse. If you take somebody from Watts, you know what I mean, and you kicking them out to Jordan Downs, and then you know, move them to Lancaster where there's less opportunity. It's almost like you even making it worse. You know what I mean, for just economics. So I can't really get behind it. Yeah,
I'm with you on that one. It's.
I can see if they was relocating them to Santa Monica. We got 5 families and we're going to get them in places in Santa Monica where there's opportunities and a different life for your kids. It's like, we're going to put them out in Hemet.
You said where there ain't nothing out there.
There's less jobs now. Like, if jobs was already 40 miles away, now jobs are 120 miles away.
Making things less accessible and just making life harder for our people.
It's already was hard, and now it just got harder, and it's hot. So
that makes all the frustration worse.
You know what summer do to the streets?
Yeah. So one of my friends call it killing season because niggas just get hot and it just make people be tripping. I wanted to switch subjects now. Have you been following the Young Thug case?
Yeah, not a ton, but a lot enough.
Okay, so obviously you know the gist of it. Now, recently, California State Senate and Assembly approved the bill that prevents prosecutors from using rap lyrics and other creative works during criminal proceedings, and this could soon become a law. So, what is your take on that? Especially you being a rapper, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that's great, but I think a lot of times they're not using lyrics. You know what I mean? I think I've seen a case where they use lyrics and it fell apart. It's not a real strong case, but I think they glamorize. I think hip hop or rap is on the chopping block a lot of times. You know, it's a pretty good thing to blame. It's easy to blame it. So, you know, I think like you have the lady in Georgia, she's like, oh, you know, they're saying this in their songs, but they got, 30 snitches in the case. It's like they don't need the lyrics. They got a real case. So maybe it'll stop. Maybe some agencies are using lyrics to get warrants. Maybe it'll stop that. Mm-hmm. I think for the most case, they're not using lyrics. They pretty much, like, even in a Thug case, I told my buddies, I'm like, man, a case that big, they got a lot of people telling. And come to find out, they got over 10 people telling in that case. So, you know what I'm saying? The lyrics don't matter. They can take every lyric out the sky and it won't matter. They got people telling, and it's gonna be tough.
I'm nervous with that. I mean,
yeah, and what's funny? I think what's most important in that case, and nobody's speaking on, is the drugs. They went in this house and found pills, and they went in this house and found all that, the lean in the refrigerator. It's like, these are real issues that could cloud your judgment. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to really start taking these things into account in these cases. Like, this is somebody that probably need to be in a drug program, a serious one.
Right. And
you know what I mean? And not necessarily jail, but they understanding when it's happening to folks that's white.
That brings me to my next point. I want to talk about mental health, or dealing with mental health, battling within the rap game. Like you said, that could be a person who needs help, and he's using all these drugs and all these things to help him to mask whatever it is he could be going through. Now, I'm not saying that is the case with Thug, but that could be. You know what I mean? So, what is your take on? Let me just start by saying I feel like Black men, one, they don't like to face that, and it's almost like an unwritten rule that Black men cannot show any kind of vulnerability in that sense. And if you use words like mental health, a lot of times it gives a connotation that man is weak. So what is your take though on men on Black men dealing with that, especially within the rap game, dealing with mental illness and trying to battle that while being a Black man, period?
It's funny. I talked to Charlamagne and Van and different people who really are big mental health people. That's their focus and target. I'm one of the people that's kind of like no different than your body being sick. You know what I mean? Like it's different because you can't truly diagnose it. I mean, and I think that's where it get dangerous at. Trying to diagnose it and say, oh, this is what's wrong with this. It's not like when you catch the flu, you can test for it. And mental health is a bit funny to where they could just diagnose it off of what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know enough about it to really deal with it. I mean, I think mentally I'm unhealthy sometimes, just like physically, sometimes it's bad, but like anything else, does medicine really help? Is medicine the solution? You know what I mean? Like I don't know if medicine actually heals your body. I mean, but I do think that I'm not the person to speak on it well enough. I don't really know, but it's a great conversation to happen, and anything to benefit the Black man's mind is dope to me. So long as it's the benefit of mine, I'm saying? I'll just support it and figure out exactly what's going on later.
Right. Agreed.
Let's switch topics again.
Right, so I know you recently celebrated the anniversary of Glass House 2. Tell us about that album. What does that mean to you? Celebrating this. Just go ahead and tell us about that.
That record specifically was special to me because when I first came into hip hop, I came into hip hop being able to tell a story through lyrics of songs and placing them together like a play or a skit. Like I had no idea about records or hip hop. But that's 2006 and 7. By the time I got to Glass House 2 in 2015, I finally figured out what records were about, what hip hop was about. And it was my first project that I was able to put together sonically, that when I listen to it, I feel like, this is a record that's like Quick is the Name or The Chronic. Like it rivals those type of records where I co-produced most of the records on there. And I just made a bunch of really great records and an overall good project. Mm-hmm. And that just was special to me. I listen to it now and like it compete with some of my favorite projects I liked when I was a kid. And that was the most important thing, making a project to me that I liked as much as Quick is the Name or Doggy Style or The Chronic or, All Eyes on Me, any of that stuff. I wanted to make a record that I liked as much as that.
What was your favorite one on that album?
It's changed a couple times. It started off being Too Hood with Game. Knock It Out was a favorite. I have a version of that me and Teddy Riley co-produced with Homie Sega that I never put out. I have a remix version of Too Hood with Nip Hussle I never put out. My favorite one is probably Nothing Else.
Okay.
Nothing
That
Else
one was one of mine.
It got a lot of soul.
I want to just ask real quick before we get out of here. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of rappers in LA? Who'd you put
in LA of all time? So
yeah,
is it
yours.
My favorite or who deserves to be there? Because they're two different answers.
Who you feel deserves to be on it?
Who my favorite guys that would be on Glasses, Mount Rushmore, West Coast rap with Snoop, Cube.
Of course, okay.
Quick.
Okay.
Quick and probably 40.
Solid.
Well, you know what? Yeah, like that. That would be my favorite. That's the most amount of music I listen to from those guys. Cube, Snoop, Quick, and 40. I've listened to entirely too much music from all of those guys. The guys who deserve to be there based off what Mount Rushmore really represents is probably Ice-T.
Okay.
It's probably Ice-T. It's probably Too Short. Probably Snoop Dogg. And probably Kendrick. Those are the guys that deserve to be there.
Still pretty solid. All right.
Yeah.
That's still pretty solid.
So it's my guys and then the guys that truly probably deserve to be there.
Hey, they both pretty solid answers.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to ask what does being a Black man mean to you and why is that important?
I can't be nothing else. So this is how I came out the womb. Can't be nothing else.
Right.
But the act of being a Black man is important to me. It literally fuels my soul. You know what I mean? Being like looking out for other brothers and trying my best to do right by people that look like me and come from where I come from. It fuels my soul. It's the reason why I could be in hip hop right now, because I try my best to do right by everybody that was a brother, in the business. So, my mind is fresh and healthy and, I look, healthy, I'm fine. So, but I think that comes from just what I pour into people, whether it's a DJ head, whether it's a artist, different artists I've helped throughout the time. Right now, the LA Giants, helping them keeps me fresh, keeps me focused. And that's what being a Black man is all about. Being a Black man, or being mindful. That's what it is to me. So,
yeah, right.
It fuels my soul. It's why I can do what I do tomorrow.
Right. Love it. Being a Black man is king greatness, all that.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's it. That's a wrap. One more time, I just got to give it up for my man, Glasses Malone. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Also,
man, thank
really
you
fast before we get out of here. You probably don't remember, but years ago, I'd probably say, man, maybe past 7 years ago, I was interning for this little small, internet radio company called LA Talk Radio.
I remember that.
The girl, my manager, I guess, the one who she hired me, she set us up with a photo shoot, and it was for you. And I'll never forget. You had on all white, and that's crazy because I had the pictures in my old phone, but I got to see if I can still find them. But it's just crazy that I remember I was like, damn, taking pictures of you and helping out, and then now look, I'm here interviewing you. So it's just manifestation, y'all.
Certain people worked at the front desk of Universal Music. Now they are the head of A&Rs.
Right.
So that's why that's something else. You got to act like you got some sense with everybody, because the motherfucker who was opening your door be the motherfucker shutting it in your face.
Sure will.
I'm sure I was good to you, so I ain't worried.
Yeah, no, you was cool. You was hella cool. I have no nothing bad at all to say. Yeah. But yeah, so yes, that's a wrap. And one more time, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Queen. That's all I love.
All I know. That's all the nigga know. Yeah. All I know. And I don't know nothing else. And why would I? Hey, I'm Ray Charles with two good eyes. They say young is when the good die. So pardon me for being bad. That's how I love my women. This bitch, she from Yemen. That pussy get wet, I'm about to go swimming. Eat it if it's sweet, nobody likes a lemon. Love Jay, but new whips and I'm a Remy. Kobe B's a better. Kobe beef with cheddar. Dog, you don't know me if you thinking I'm a sweater. I'm a letter, cause that's what players do when she try and book.